Hey everyone, what's up? This is Simon from DevTactic. Today we will build a cool app using Ionic 2 and Firebase Sync. So for this, let's go ahead and start a new app. I call it DevTactic Firebase. It will use the blank template, the second version of Ionic because this is still in beta, and also we will use TypeScript. So go ahead and run this from your command line. And while this is downloading some stuff, we can already take a closer look at what we're gonna use. So this is called Angular Fire 2. There was obviously an Angular Fire 1 library as well for Ionic 1 or Angular 1. But now there's the official Angular 2 library for Firebase. And we will install this and go some of those examples they share for building cloud sync and also simple user authentication. So with that in mind, let's wait until our app is finished and then we can dive right into the code. So by now our app is ready and we can go to our folder. Inside our folder we now have to install some Npm packages. So the first is Angular Fire 2, which we have already seen on GitHub. The second one is Firebase, and I'm using this specific version just because I had problems with the other version. So if you're following this tutorial, make sure to use this version as well. Okay, besides this installation, we can also do one more thing. So Firebase, okay, we already finished, so let's continue with this. We have installed the Npm packages. Now we need to install the typings for the Firebase library to use it with TypeScript. I actually haven't installed typings. What's it again? I guess npm install typings like this. Let's see, I'm pretty sure. Npm install -g typings. Okay, so as you can see, this is a TypeScript definition manager. Okay, back to Firebase. They had rebranding or relaunch or whatever you want to call it, and this is the actual old platform. So this is firebase.com. They now have Firebase, I think firebase.google.com. So there's a difference between those two. And to use the authentication, we actually need to create an app in the legacy console, which you will have to log in. So let's create the app DevTactic Fire. Is this good or is this not allowed? Yeah, it is okay. So we have this app created here, but we actually need to get it to the new platform, which is this one. So go to the console here, and meanwhile we could try to install the Firebase typings again, which should have worked now. Okay, so we have done this as well. And now we can see I have two old projects here already, and below is the one we just created in the legacy console. So click on import here. This will be my URL. I will not be able to manage this from the old. Okay, I'm in Germany. So let's import this project. And okay, so our app is important now. And we can go to the database and create the structure for our Firebase database. So import the JSON file. I've already created a little structure, which I will show you in a second. So it looks like this. And this is the data contained in the structure JSON. So this is what I just added. Use security defined as public. Okay, yes. That is not so good, but let's go to the auth tab for now and choose sign in method and enable email and password. And this is exactly everything you need to do to enable email and password authentication and sign up for your app. So now we got this little error here, which simply says that we haven't defined any rules like this. So therefore I will just copy those rules and replace them. Before everyone could read and write to our bucket, now only authenticated users will have access to our data. So this is everything we need to do on the backend side. We can keep an eye on our database later, but for now we can simply move on to our code. And we start inside the app.ts. Besides the automatically generated homepage, we need Ionic generate a page called login. Okay. And if my internet doesn't suck, okay, now it's better. So we got the login, and this is the first file we want to import. This is the login page, and this should be somewhere in maybe pages login. Oh, well, not really a good code completion today. Whatever. Okay, we can actually remove the home page because the login page will be the first page we see. And obviously the root page will now be the login page, so no more errors here. The second thing we need to import is a lot of Firebase stuff, and this will come from Angular Fire 2. And inside our little object we have the Firebase providers. We have default Firebase. We have, what do we else have? We have Angular Fire. We have auth methods. So please don't ask me for all of those, what they are, but this comes from the tutorial on GitHub for using Angular Fire 2. And finally, Firebase auth config. Okay, so we have imported all the funny stuff, and we can now go to our app and create a new providers array. And inside this providers array, we first of all pass the Firebase providers, and then we can set the default Firebase. And this is interesting because this is just the name of your app, which in my case is this. And from that point on, we don't have to take care of using this URL or connection anymore. It's one time set here. We also already specify the Firebase. It's not R2 config, it's called auth config. It's Firebase auth config, like this. And now we can use it, the Firebase auth config here, which expects an object of a provider. And this is the auth providers.password, and the method it expects is auth methods password again. Sorry. So we could also define Twitter or something else here. This is just the default method we specify for logging in. Okay, so that's everything we need in our app file. Now let's move on to the login. We can also run Ionic. Oh, okay, obviously serve, not server. So inside the login HTML, we have well, still Ion title login and Ion content, which is pretty good at all. Okay, we already have some TypeScript errors. Yes and yes, fixed. So inside our content we will have a form for either logging in or come on. Oh, this does not look very good. Actually, it looks pretty bad. I'm not sure about my typings. Okay, we will see. Okay, as I said, we will have a form and we will use the Angular 2 way for this form, and this is by defining the login form as ngForm. And now we don't have to create reference for the variables inside the form inside the login TS. We can simply do it all inside the form, and I will show you how. Inside our Ion form or login form, we will have two Ion items. Ion item, and inside the items we have Ion label. Why can't this be closed automatically? I don't know. And we add some styling, which is something we already get from Ionic. This will be the email field, and we also need an Ion input with the type email. And now we use Angular 2 again, ng control, and this will be stored in the variable email. We will see how to use them later. And finally close the input. Alright, obviously we need a second of those. This will be the password field. It should be of the type password, obviously, and also be like this. Okay, so below our two items we will have a little div with some padding just to make it look better, and we will have two buttons. The first button has a click event which we'll call login. Login. Okay, and the second one will be register user, because we obviously need users to create an account. We could also create them on Firebase, but why not let them create their own accounts? So by now we're not passing anything, so we should change this to use loginform.value. So in loginform.value we will have all the information about the email and the password field, so we don't need any special variables inside the login TS. I have actually already launched Safari. Oh yes, and we can see there is our little login screen. Hopefully everything will work, but for now we're fine, and let's move on. So we go to our login TS to implement the logic. The first thing we need to import is Firebase auth from, again, Angular Fire 2, because we want to log in the user, but we also need the home page, because after successful login we need to redirect the user to home. Okay, we have the template for our page, and we have the class. Now let's add some loading as well, so we can show some progress. This is really easy, so I will show you this while we're doing this. Okay, yes, I haven't imported this, so we need the page, we need nav controller, we might need an alert, and we need the loading from Ionic Angular. Now we had two functions. One was a register user with the credentials we get from the form. The second one was, I think, login, and maybe we need something like show loading, which is pretty easy to implement. This loading is equal to new loading, really easy with Ionic 2. It will say please wait, and we have to use it on our navigation controller and call present this dot loading. Yes, it's already public. Maybe we also want to show an error. This can happen, although we don't like it. And in case of an error, there was a little problem with the loading indicators, so I have to use a little a bit ugly workaround to dismiss the loading. I guess in future Ionic versions this will be fixed, but for now this also works. So we set a little timeout without any time, but I don't know, needs to be something related to the life cycle of a view. So anyways, what we wanted to do was create a new alert view, and this will have the title fail. Subtitle will be exactly the text we passed, and the buttons, we only need an OK button. So we can present this as well. Alright, so we have implemented all the uninteresting functions for now. Let's go to the register user. First of all, let's show the loading, because we can. After showing this, we obviously haven't created this by now. So for our functions we need a public variable auth, which will be Firebase auth, just like that. And now we can use it here and simply call create user, because this is inside the Angular Fire 2 library. And the good thing is we can directly pass our credentials, as this already expects an email and a password. This uses a promise and not the new subscribe way, maybe in a later version, but for now, if you're coming from Ionic 1, you know how to do this, or from Angular 1. So first of all, let's dismiss the loading view, and okay, let's create a prompt, because no, this is no fail. Inside this block we actually have success, so we can say your new account was created. Okay, we present it, and what we gonna do as well is catch an error. You never know, errors can happen. So for this we obviously have our show error and simply pass the error. So if we have done a lot of things right and the error we see here is nothing that matters, we should be able to create a new account. So come, and you see first argument must contain the key password with type string, whatever, but this is an error coming from Firebase. So my name is also Simon, password test. This is the loading spinner. Hey, success, your new account was created. So let's see, where's our Firebase bucket? And there we have it. This is the user we just created, user ID. You can disable, delete, or reset the password. I'm not completely sure what will happen. So they have some email template sign up or set up, but I'm not sure those are not really automatically sent out. So maybe you have to set up something else for those to work. Anyway, we have our user, which means the registration was actually successful, our view is working, and now we can go to the login function and implement it as well, because there's really nothing special at all. It's even a lot shorter than before. I will copy this because I'm a bit lazy. So the only thing that changes is we call login with our credentials, and what we're going to do inside is not present something like this, but just say this nav set root page to be the home page, and also show an error on error, because yeah, that's good error handling. So let's see. No. So we're back. I'm using my login and I'm passing a wrong password. Okay, the specified password is incorrect. Okay, I'm sorry for that. So let's give the right one. And we're on the automatically generated home screen of Ionic 2. So this means we actually logged into Firebase, which is great news at this point. Now the only thing that's missing is cloud sync between our to-do list and our view. So let's see how to implement this. Before we build our to-do list view, let's go to the TypeScript implementation of the home screen, because we can already create the variables. So I'm getting a bit lazy of implementing this stuff. So we import all the stuff from Angular Fire 2. Don't want to type in all of this. And I'm not completely sure if we actually need the next one. But yeah, let's keep it like this. So inside our homepage class, we will have a to-do list, which is of the type Firebase list observable. It can be any objects inside. So I'm not sure if we need to import the observable object as well, but we will see. What we also gonna do is use an user image, because what Firebase does is giving you a user image from Gravatar based on your email address. So we will see, maybe I have an image from my email address. And also the constructor I already prepared. So we import again Angular Fire like we did in the login, or this was the auth. We have the nav controller, which we should always have here, just like the alert. And we have Angular Fire reference, and this will be used to syncing our data. So let's actually start with that one, because this is the most interesting one. And this is actually the Angular lifecycle. So ng on init, and on init, oh come on, I can't pronounce this right. So we subscribe to the authentication event, and if we get data, so this means we're actually logged in. Only in that case we actually fill our to-do list. So you might think we should be definitely logged in on the home screen, but there could be cases I could directly go to the home screen and I wouldn't be logged in. So this is to make sure we're really logged in. So the to-do list is now equals our reference to Angular Fire, and we want a list of objects from the to-do list bucket, like this. And this is again the name of our array of objects on Firebase. So as I said, we also want the user image, and this is data we get from the login password. I'm not sure why the field or object is called password. I really don't know. It's somehow strange, but I inspected the result and there was the profile image right inside the password field. So if this changes, and I could imagine it will change, you might change this to a different object inside data. But for now, for the versions I specified for this tutorial, this works pretty well. Okay, this was really the most interesting function here, but we need to create some more. So we obviously want to create a to-do, and this will call a special function. So we will simply use a mechanism. I will tell you in a second. So we will display an alert view and either fill the input field with data we already have, or use it empty and use the input for the new object. So if we want to create a new to-do, we call edit to-do with no to-do, and we say yes, this is a new to-do. I might not need the parameter if I would check for null, but just in case, I would like to pass this as well. To open a to-do, as said, we get a to-do from the view, hopefully, and we call edit to-do with a to-do object, and in that case it's not a new to-do. And the third one we need is obviously the classic remove to-do. This is a bit easier. In that case we simply call directly on our to-do list remove the to-do. Seems very easy, and it's really that easy, I'm sure. Let me copy this alert block. I'm a bit lazy for this alert block all the time. So as I said, we create an alert. The title depends on if this is a new to-do. If it's new, we obviously have the title create to-do. If it's not new, we can say update to-do. We don't need the subtitle, but what we need is inputs, or we just need one input, but whatever, it's called inputs. So we have the input, the name is title, the placeholder, if we have no value, should also be title, and the value of this field depends on if to-do is set, then it's to-do.to-do, and this is a little object, to-do object, because this, you will see it from our Firebase bucket. If we have no to-do, the value is simply empty. The buttons is a bit bigger array in this case. So first of all, let's have a cancel button, and surprise, the role of this button, guess it? Yes, it's canceling stuff. But the other button is the interesting one. So again, we make the distinction between the to-do is set and not set. So if it's set, the button should obviously read update. Otherwise, it should be adding the to-do. And for this button, we can specify a handler for the data. So the cancel button will simply cancel the alert view, but this button will have a handler for the data. And now we again use our very cool variable is new. So if it's a new to-do, we need to call on the to-do list push, because we want to append or push a new object to the array. And now you see why. The object has a to-do, and this will be data.title, because the name of the variable is title. And at this point, where was it? It's to-do. This is because the objects have the to-do key and the value is this. Okay. Okay, we actually need to handle the else block as well. This will be this dot to-do list update. And we want to update the to-do, which we already got up here. And the new data for the to-do will be data.title. So while I'm typing this, I'm pretty sure I could also remove them from here. Yes. Finally pre-present the pop-up. I think we're already done. Let's give it a try. So yes. No, we should have disabled autocompletion. No, I'm not. Oh, come on, I just want to log in. Okay. Oh no, I forgot. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes, very good. Fair enough, we can lock the data. This is somehow interesting to us. We obviously haven't created the view. I was so happy we were already finished, but whatever, we can go back to that. So, come on, now stop the autocompletion. Hey. What is this kind of magic? Whew. So let's see. Yes, there we have it. This is the auth object I talked about. So we're logging this now, right there. Yes, and inside the password field we have, as I said, the profile image URL to a gravatar image. We also have an expire. We could use a lot more of those things, but for this simple use case, I guess it's enough to log in and be happy. So where was the log? Let's remove it and let's craft the final view. Whew. Okay, so back to the home HTML. We have a navbar, and before the title, which should obviously be my to-dos, we set up an Ion buttons tag and also apply a start because it should be on the left hand side on iOS or on Android. Well, at least at the right side and the left. Okay, it will be here. If we say and, it's to the right, and if we also have a start one, it will be here. So where was I? Okay, I was about to close the tag. Yes. Inside we use the Ion avatar, which is pretty awesome for displaying a little avatar. And we can simply say the image source is now our user image from our class. We have the Ion title buttons is defined, and we also have buttons at the end, so you will see this in the view. But now we have an Ion button, obviously not an Ion button, just a simple button, and the click event. Yes, click. This will be create to do. Well, let's actually give a cool icon. Let's say add. I think it's like this. Yes. The autocompletion is somehow ridiculous, not working. But whatever, we good. Button, buttons, navbar. Okay, let's go to the content. We don't want the card. but what we actually want is ion item sliding. So we want a slide button, or we want to have a list with buttons we can move to the slide to reveal the delete button. We use the new ng4, and I hope if you watch this, the new let syntax is already out and hopefully still there. So we iterate over all of the items in the to-do list, and we also apply a pipe called async. This will help to update the buttons once there are changes coming into our list. Inside the ion item sliding, we have items which are buttons in fact, and which have the open to do event using the item. And yes, of course, we should have ion item content. So this is the content of the button. Oh, come on, so much writing for something. Item.todo, just like we had inside our TypeScript file. So close the ion item content, close the button, and now we need to specify ion item options, and also close it. Sorry. And again, we have a button. Once we reveal it, which will then call remove to do on the current item. And again, can I copy this? I don't know. No, not really. Come on, we had some icon here. Yes. Oh, we have an icon, and it will be the trash icon. No, it's small, I guess. And delete. So after this, okay, yes, need to close it. We have closed the ion item options, we have closed the button, we have closed the sliding, and we forgot the most important part, which is opening the ion list and also closing the list. Whew. Let's see. You know, if I type a lot faster, they have no chance to correct me there. Perfect. So let's log in. Okay, I created something bad. Parse error. Yes, obviously. Come on, that was really bad. I shouldn't take an easier email address possible. Oh, there we have it. So much wow in a single view. So we have 3 to-dos which are coming from our to-do list we have imported. We have a user image. We have the chance to create a to-do, my new epic to-do, and there we have it. And let's go to the Firebase, and it's here. So this is the beauty of this. We have the sliding delete button, and we use it on the second to-do. It gets removed from our list, and you have seen it. I can do it again. It's marked red on Firebase, so this means it's about to be deleted, and it's gone. My epic to-do update, and my epic to-do is updated and immediately updated here. If I change it on Firebase, oh, can I not change it? Yes, it's changed, and it immediately is changed in my file. Alright, so this was the tutorial on using user signup authentication with Firebase, using Angular Fire 2 with Ionic 2, and also Cloud Sync with our list items, creating, updating, removing everything you need in a normal app. Created in, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes, 30-40 minutes, something like this. So you see how fast you can really create MVPs or anything using Ionic 2 and Firebase. If you want to learn more about this, make sure to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and come back next time. Goodbye.